Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Welcome back and nice to have you here. As always, I appreciate your comments, uh, your total engagement with my videos. Uh, Thank you for doing that. Please subscribe, share, like my videos so we can uh, grow concerned citizens media. Uh, so it can be the voice for the voiceless. Thank you again for coming back. So first, before I go to the news, I want to share uh, some video, very short video about the OSFNA soccer tournament for the year 2021. Uh, the crowd was interesting and the turnout was huge, especially on the final day. Uh, the discipline is exemplary, so it is very, very uh, interesting. It will encourage you to come back every year. Uh, let's see the video. How the fans are, enjoying the game and showing some cultural dance. Let's start with this. There you go. So that is the test of the final uh, OSFANA tournament, Oromo Soccer Festival of North America, which was uh, took place in the Twin City, Minnesota. Uh, you know, the final game was between Madawalabu and Dredwa. So Madawalabu won the game 2-1. And as you heard, the fans are expressing, enjoying the game and saying, it's normal actually. It's not bad to say go home, blah blah. It's part of the game. But in a general, the stadium was full in both sides, which is an indication of Oromo's interest in soccer game and the solidarity, the unity between Oromos. It's a very encouraging. It is happening every year. And in one turn, Oromia is, due to the political situations, Oromos are, having their own soccer tournament actually is a separate state. I don't think you can bring uh, uh, to the Ethiopia. It's already separated. The Ethiopians also they have their own separate tournament every year. This is because of the political infighting and uh, the challenges Oromos are facing back home, and is pushing them to go away to look for independent uh, country. Unless something miracle happen to bring Oromo soccer tournament with the other Ethiopian tournament, this miracle should happen. Something, a glue should happen to bring this team and these two large ethnic groups together, but that's not happening. It's looking away from Ethiopia because what we see is, the government attempting to silence legitimate Oromo's concern. So it is very encouraging. I really appreciate the discipline the Oromos are expressing and their unity. Uh, they have showed us their greatness, their discipline, and very, very encouraging to come back and watch them again. And that's much I'm going to say. So let's go to the news. Thank you again. Uh, Here are the news and concerned citizens media comment for August 4, 2021. Excuse me. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was seen visiting and encouraging the Afar front war operations against TDF. The TDF, or Tigray Defense Force, has been in action with Ethiopia's federal and regional forces in several fronts. There is no end in sight or de-escalation of these devastating internal wars among the citizens of the same nation. The Prime Minister openly rejected the possibility of holding talks with TDF officials. If that to happen, TDF must be in control of several towns and cities beyond the Tigray region. Also, the Ethiopian parliament must meet again and remove TPLF or TDF from the terrorist blacklisting. Ethiopia, under Abiy Ahmed's leadership, is dealing with multiple command posts, global isolation, severe economic downstream, high unemployment rate, life expenses, monetary devaluation, ethnic cleansing, unprecedented ethnic conflict, and several other obstacles. Abiy Ahmed and his Prosperity Party the Abiy Ahmed and his Prosperity Party are the death sentence for Ethiopia and the Ethiopians. Ethiopia's Prosperity Party court sentenced 3 individuals. The government accused them in the killing of artist Hachalu Hundessa last year. The government-controlled court sentenced Tselahun Yami life in prison, Kabada Gamachu to 18 years and Abdi Alamayo to 6 months imprisonment. Artist Hachalu Hundessa's family expressed their disappointment with this ruling, saying that the main suspect in the killing of their son is Ramlot Kamal. Ramlot Kamal was present in the vehicle with Hachalu Hundessa on the day of his assassination. She knows what happened that day, and she is solely responsible for the death of Hachalu Hundessa, the family stressed. The Hachalu Hundessa's brother told BBC Oromo language program that these three individuals have nothing to do with the assassination of Hachalu Hundessa. These sentences are the government's drama to cover up the criminalities associated with the assassination plot, not the real justice for their son's loss. The family also said justice for Hachalu Hundessa will be served in the future. The Ethiopian government rushed his burial service without proper investigation at the time. Ethiopian authorities rejected the need for opening humanitarian aid corridor. The Western nations and the International Aid Organization requested the humanitarian corridor to be opened between Ethiopia and the Sudan border so that the aid assistance can easily reach the Tigrayan population who have been desperately waiting for months for these aid deliveries. Aid assistance coming through Ethio-Djibouti road takes months and months due to several challenges such as militia activities on the roads and Ethiopian government restrictions on the aid workers and transportation services. Tigray Defense Force has made several attempts to open this corridor by means of military forces, but these attempts were unsuccessful so far. U.S. Aid Administrator Samantha Power is in Addis Ababa after completing her visit to Sudan. She expected to meet with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and other senior officials. She will deliver a message from U.S. President Joe Biden concerning the serious humanitarian crisis in the Tigray region and other regions, plus the need to have dialogue with TPLF to end the war. She already reiterated the State Department's stand that calls on Eritrean Defense Force withdrawal from Ethiopia permanently, the Amhara militia from western Tigray, and the TDF from the Afar and Amhara regions to withdraw. I wish she demand the resignation of Abiy Ahmed to end the ethnic tension and the bloodshed in Ethiopia. That is the wish of concerned citizens media. I have been calling on him to resign because he is a failure. He is a death sentence for that country. His leadership is a failure. Too much bloodshed, occurring in that country, ethnic tension, command post, so many problems. So I hope she will call him, she will ask him, demand his resignation, because that's the only way you can avoid the bloodshed and the bitter ethnic tension in Ethiopia. So it will open the door for dialogue and reconciliation to form a new government. But this guy, he's still there. He's still encouraging the war operation to win the war through bloodshed. Ethiopia to reopen bidding for second telecom license. Ethiopia will reopen bidding for its second telecom operator license, including the right to operate mobile financial service this month, senior government officials said on Monday. The Horn of Africa nation sold only one of two full-service licenses on offer in May, citing a lower than expected price for the second one, which it now wants to offer again. We have made several changes that can uplift its value. For instance, mobile financial service. Mr. Palcha Reba, Director General of the Ethiopian Communication Authority, told Reuters news agency. A consortium led by Kenya's top operator, Safaricom, secured the first license. Safaricom's winning bid of 850 million could serve as a guide for the price of the remaining license. The concerned citizens' media cautioned the sale of these public major revenue-generating sectors for the Prosperity Party's agenda and war operation funding without proper consultation with Ethiopians. So that's a concern of citizens' media, why they are selling. They want to use this money to wage a war or to facilitate the lives of Ethiopians. So the situation is indicating that he might use this money to fund the war game, to fund the war going on against his own citizens. That's why, but Ethiopians don't have any chance to challenge the government. They are powerless. The parliament can't challenge him. So he can, sell it, spend the money the way he wanted. So that's a concern, but we just express the concern, but it doesn't mean we have the power to stop him from selling this the most important public sector that generates finance for Ethiopians. So that is the situation. He's selling it, and he already sold one for 850 million. What he's gonna do with this money? I know he will use it to save his power. Nothing for the citizens of Ethiopia. Okay, here this is the security alert from U.S. Embassy in Ethiopia. Update on security situation in Tigray and a section of Afar and Amhara. Access to telephone and internet in the region remain cut. Availability of basic service, including electricity, is spotty. Reports of interruption to essential items such as food, fuel, and money persist. The U.S. Embassy is unable to contact American citizens in the region. The U.S. Embassy continues to closely track development and to assess how this might affect relocation plans for U.S. citizens. Please note, however, that we neither guarantee that a relocation will take place nor when that may happen. For U.S. citizens who wish to leave the region, the U.S. Embassy recommends contacting the nearest United Nations facility to inquire about the possibility of joining departing UN convoys or to request information about safe routes out of Tigray. The U.S. Embassy is also aware of reports of fighting in sections of the Afar and the Amhara region. U.S. citizens in these regions should monitor local media for breaking news and should be prepared to shelter in place if they are in the vicinity of areas of conflict. If you are a U.S. citizen in a conflict area, or if you have a U.S. citizen family member who you believe is in such an area and you haven't provided us your relative's name and contact information before, please contact us immediately at Addis ACS at state.gov with the following information. It says U.S. citizen's full name, date of birth, U.S. citizens, U.S. passport number, if known, the U.S. citizen's last known location, and the contact information. So that is a warning and the advice for U.S. citizens might be living in Tigray, Amhara, and Afar region where the conflict is waging. So that's security alert. Okay, the other one is from U.S. State Department. This is a press release, so I will read this one too. We are very concerned about the worsening conflict in northern Ethiopia and its impacts on humanitarian relief efforts. We renew our calls on parties to conflict to end hostilities and for the initiation of talks to achieve a negotiated ceasefire. We call on TPLF to withdraw its associated military forces immediately from the Amhara and Afar regions. At the same time, we renew our calls for the Amhara regional government to withdraw immediately its associated military forces from western Tigray, and for the Eritrean government to withdraw its military forces permanently from Ethiopia. All parties should accelerate unhindered delivery of humanitarian assistance to those affected by the conflict, and the commercial blockade of Tigray must end. So that is a strong statement from U.S. State Department. I thought Eritrea is already gone. I don't know if they are still there. No news. They are silent. Eritrea is very silent these days. Very silent. Nothing. They don't want to incriminate themselves. They are very silent. They are operating silently. That means. So there may be an indication Eritrean forces are still operating in Tigray. That's why the State Department is calling on Eritrean government again to withdraw its forces permanently from Tigray. So the Ethiopian government told us long time ago, Eritreans, withdraw from Ethiopia. So we know they are lying. No credibility. That's why the American government is still calling on Eritreans, leave Ethiopia alone. Okay, the last part of today's reading the news. Sudanese cabinet approved draft law to join ICC. The Sudanese cabinet on Tuesday approved a draft law to join Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, or ICC. Today, during the Cabinet's regular meeting, we unanimously approved a draft law on Sudanese accession to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court before a joint meeting between the Sovereign Council and the Cabinet for approval, said Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok in a statement on Facebook. Justice and accountability are the firm foundation of New Sudan, committed to the rule of law we all seek to build, he added. Sudan is not a state party to the ICC's Rome Statute. The government has signed the statute in September 2000, but withdrew its signature in August 2008. The constitutional document governing the transitional period stipulated to ratify all agreements and charters on human rights and justice. Also, the Juba peace agreement signed by the transitional government and the armed group in Juba in October 2020 provides to access to the Rome Statute. In March 2005, the Security Council referred the investigation into war crimes in Darfur to the ICC. Sudan refusal to cooperate with the War Crime Court led the ICC General Prosecutor to issue an arrest warrant for Omar al-Bashir to be the first sitting president to be indicted by Hague Court. The position of the military component over al-Bashir's handover remains unclear. Last year, the head of the Sovereign Council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhani, said willing to hand over the ousted president to the court. However, this year several times speak about cooperation with the ICC to try him inside Sudan, referring to the principle of complementarity. Beside al-Bashir, the ICC indicted Ahmed Harun, a former state minister for interior, Abdul Rahim Hussein, former interior minister, Ali Kushab, a former militia leader currently under trial in The Hague, and Abdullah Banda, a fugitive former rebel. So that's Sudan. And joining the international or ratifying, document to join the International Criminal Court or ICC. And ICC is an international court, deals with human rights abuses all over the world. So some states still didn't join, like the United States refused to join. Fear of persecution by this court, several others, but most the countries joined already. Okay, that's enough for the reading part. Let's see, let's share some videos and end today's presentation. Thank you again for being part of the Concerned Citizens Media. Let's see what we have. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. There we go. There you go. So a little bit from United Nations about Ethiopia, then I will continue to the other topics. Let's listen.
And turning to Ethiopia, the Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths is ending his mission in Addis today in Addis Ababa, where he met with the Deputy Prime Minister, Demenke Mekonnen Hassan, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Gedu Andargachu Aline, as well as UN and non-governmental heads of agencies, as well as our humanitarian staff. Meanwhile, the humanitarian situation continues to deteriorate in the Amhara region due to the ongoing regional and ethnic conflicts, flash floods, and food insecurity. In Amhara, intercommunal violence in the central Gondar zone and the Awi zone continue to increase the number of internally displaced persons. Worsening conflict in the Amhara-Tigray regional border is further increasing displacement, with an estimated 100,000 internally displaced men, women, and children in various pockets of the region. UN agencies are supporting our partners and government counterparts throughout Amhara, including in health and nutrition and cash programs. Response, however, remains insufficient to meet increasing humanitarian needs, with limited humanitarian presence in the region. Immediate resource mobilization is required to meet the urgent needs of impacted communities. Emergency shelter, food, and non-food items are the key priorities for us. Pre-positioning of supplies, particularly for health, nutrition, shelter, and protection, is urgently required. And a new report by the UN mission in Iraq and the Office of the High Commissioner.
Okay, that's the UN briefing is include all different all countries. So I just want to share about Ethiopia for now. Let's see the other videos. The other one is Sadiq Abraha interview on the BBC. Let's see.
Got an occasion that's worth a celebration? Well, nothing says celebration like flowers from Pro Flowers. Surprise your special.
Let's turn to Ethiopia now, where 8 months of conflict in the northern region of Tigray has seen an extraordinary change of fortune for the Tigrayan military forces. They were routed last November when the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed sent the federal army into the Tigray region to put down an insurrection by the regional TPLF government. Thousands of lives were lost, tens of thousands of people were displaced before Mr. Ahmed declared victory at the end of November. But Tigrayan forces regrouped in June. They recaptured the regional capital Mekelle and much of the territory they had lost, forcing a retreat by the Ethiopian army and their allies from neighbouring Eritrea. The government in Addis Ababa, though, continues to have a stranglehold on the Tigrayan region, hampering delivery of much-needed aid supplies. We will hear from a minister in the government in just a moment. Just before we came on air, we got through to Sadiq Abraha, who is the Ethiopian Minister for Democratization in the government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. We apologise in advance for the quality of the line from Addis Ababa. I asked Mr. Abraha first to respond to the claim about blockading the region and preventing humanitarian assistance from getting through.
We never blocked humanitarian aid. In fact, our government supplied the most amount of humanitarian aid than all other partners combined. They are invoking the humanitarian aid discourse because they know the international community, including the media, responds emotionally to it. If humanitarian aid is inconvenienced now, it's because they are operating outside of Tigray, in Afar, in Amhara region.
The general that we spoke to yesterday, General Sadkan, said that the only reason they were making incursions into Afar and Amhara was in order to try and break the blockade.
That's not the case. The blockade never existed. More than 170 lorries have passed through to Tigray. They are on their way to Tigray now because we let them go.
It is difficult to take the word of the Ethiopian government at face value, given that the Prime Minister has not told the truth in the past. When Mekelle fell to the government, he said, "We have won, no civilians have been killed." That was not true. When he said that Eritrea was not part of the offensive against the TPLF, that turned out not to be true. He also said there was no famine, and the United Nations disagrees with that. So in that context, it is quite difficult to take what the Ethiopian government says at face value. Do you not accept that?
No, the Ethiopian government is a government of principles. This is an
Government of principles,
that has won the
you
minds
see.
and the hearts of Ethiopia.
Still
Well,
keep
you can have
lying.
differences on analysis, we can have differences on information, but it does not mean that the Ethiopian government depends on false information.
You say that the Ethiopian government conducts itself with civility. How then would you defend your own Prime Minister describing the Tigrayan Ethiopians and others as the children of Ethiopia as wheat and his Tigrayan opponents as invasive weeds who must be uprooted in a manner that will never grow again?
That's not what he said. He was talking about the top echelon leadership of the TPLF, which are only 45 in number. He never addressed that to the entire Tigrayan population.
Is it helpful, though, for the Prime Minister of a country to refer to people who are his citizens? Whatever you think about the TPLF, he said the country is facing an enemy which is the cancer of Ethiopia, and that these Tigrayans were invasive weeds. Is it helpful to refer to Tigrayans in that way?
He never said all Tigrayans are like that. He never said.
Is it not plausible that if the Prime Minister of a country refers to the TPLF in the way that he did, although he didn't say the TPLF, he said that his Tigrayan opponents, he described them in this way. Is it not plausible that many people in the country will then think this is an okay way for us to treat Tigrayans, and that this is the way that leads to divisiveness as opposed to trying to unite the country?
This government, the rules of operation, the rules of engagement with the public is peace, love, and reconciliation. That is the defining feature of this government. This government cannot be accused of being divisive. It cannot be accused of inciting ethnic hatred. It is the opposite.
Let me point to an issue. General Sadkan, who used to be the chief of staff of the Ethiopian army, acted as a mediator between the Prime Minister and the TPLF back in 2019. He left to fight on the side of the TPLF because it was his view that Abiy Ahmed was not interested in peace.
If that was the case, General Sadkan would not have got an audience with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister would have wasted a lot of time to deal with the problem.
The General is asking for conditions to be met in order to stop the fighting. The blockade has to be lifted, and you need to stop the persecution of Tigrayans in the capital and also release all political prisoners. Do you accept any of those?
They are looking for something where there is nothing. There is no humanitarian blockade. We have left Tigray so that people will be in a position to access humanitarian aid freely.
What about releasing political prisoners?
This is a miscalculation, a false sense of power that TPLF is feeling right now. There are no political prisoners in Ethiopia.
Is this a statement that I should take at face value in the way that we were expected to believe the Prime Minister when he said that Eritrea was not involved in the fighting, and it turned out that Eritrea was?
We may have differences on the kind of information we have, but it was not said out of an interest to mislead anyone.
Are you prepared to engage in any political discussions with the TPLF?
TPLF is a terrorist organization proscribed by the government, but it does not mean we have a problem with sitting with anyone and solving a problem. If you want to sit down and have a discussion, there are many ways. There are a lot of Tigrayan elites. There are many organizations. There are other political forces in Tigray.
But you won't speak to the TPLF?
No, because we know the TPLF is not mean the Tigrayan people. The Tigrayan people are by far greater than in number, in size, in history than the TPLF.
But it is quite clear that the Tigrayan people support what the TPLF are doing.
There are other political forces who are opposing the TPLF.
General Sadkan has asked for a referendum to be held on the future of Ethiopia. Is this something that the Prime Minister would consider?
This is all coming out of a false sense of power.
You say it's a false sense of power, but it's quite clear that the TPLF on the ground have regained territory, forcing a retreat by the army.
Well, if that was the case, they would have forced us. We are in a humanitarian ceasefire, and if you want to see the showdown, you have to wait for some weeks. When we run out of patience, we'll see how we are going to drive them from every city and village of Tigray.
Drive them where?
Well,
where will they go? Where will they go if they are Ethiopians?
No, if they want war, they will have it, because you are talking about the TPLF. You are talking about the leadership of the TPLF. The Syrians were Ethiopians 3,000 years ago. They are Ethiopians. They will always be Ethiopians. I'm not talking about the Tigrayans. I'm talking about the leadership, the mad dog of the TPLF, who is doing all these things.
And that was Mr. Zadig Abraha, Ethiopian Minister for Democratization in the government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Addis.
Okay. So that's the Ethiopian side of lies, or defending Abiy Ahmed. And Zadig Abraha is a liar too. He has been lying in the past concerning Eritreans' presence. He was saying no one soldier was in Tigray. So he was part of the system. He's lying too. Again, he's lying when he said there is no political prisoner in Ethiopia. That's a lie too. The other thing is he was attempting, to separate TDF from the Tigrayan peoples, which is impossible. And he's saying he don't want to sit with TDF. That means the war will going on until the TDF became stronger and defeat militarily remove this militia and the Ethiopian Defense Forces by force. That's the only option, because TDF means Tigrayan people. You cannot separate. They're trying through their propaganda, but that will not happen. They already showed that relationship, and you cannot separate. They are two parts of the same coin. But the Amhara media and the Abiy Ahmed Prosperity Party officials, they are trying their best to separate TDF from the Tigrayan people. It is impossible. They have to know that. They have to deal with it. They have to call their parliament to remove TDF from, terrorist blacklist to end this war. So let's see the last one for today.
The moment I saw her, I knew she was the one. There was just something about her, something in her smile.
The gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition.
Madam Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, you are not God. Your will does not bend the forest or shake the mountains. And let me assure you, your will does not bow the knee of millions of my countrymen who refuse to heed your callous command. To threaten arrest on others for their own personal medical decisions is nothing short of a medical apartheid, and I will not let it stand. For if I am to cowardly bend the knee here like those on the left wish, then what is to stop you all from taking your tyranny to the rest of this country that I love? How dare anyone in this institution attempt to dictate to the patriots of my staff how they may live their lives? For one to think that because they have the title honorable attached to their name means that they may dictate what others may say and think repulses me. What makes this nation special is that in this free land, the people are the royalty. So arrest us if you will, but I will not cower and I will not bend. Madam Speaker, you have come to take away our liberties. But Madam Speaker, in this country, you are outnumbered. With that, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Texas?
I also...
For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I wish to remove my name as co-sponsor of Bill H.R. 43.
The gentleman's request is accepted. Okay. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Texas seek recognition?
Okay, that's a serious argument in the U.S. Capitol. And you see how the freedom, how you can argue forcefully. That's the freedom of the United States. We should always appreciate. Even a simple thing cannot be taken like face mark or some kind of mandate. So you can be challenged. It's a freedom. You cannot decide about me, how I can live my life. But when my life has an impact on others, that's another thing. So this is very strong expressions from the Republican representatives. Always they are powerful. They think they are different. So the freedom of expression may be applied to them differently. So that's the general update I have for you from Ethiopia, from Sudan, from the United Nations, from the US. So we have to update ourselves. So what's happening? And a lot of things happening, but I cannot bring all of them. For example, the demonstration today happening in New York against the governor for the extension of moratorium for renters. That's a big issue because of the impact of COVID-19. So many things happening. So I appreciate you for taking the time again. And I hope there will be a solution to end the bloodshed in Tigray, in Afar, in Amhara region, in Oromia, in Benishangul. You name it. We are in a very, very tough situation. We are in a very tough time, thanks to this Abiy Ahmed's failed leadership and the Prosperity Party. We all, warned about this conflict before it started. We said bright mind needed at the time when they start isolating TDF, cutting the budget, isolating them, slowly from the military, from civil service. We know this is coming. Now the things, out of control. Ethiopia is symbol of crisis, symbol of death and bloodshed, symbol of economic collapse. So we are in a very tough situation. I hope this guy, Abiy Ahmed, recognize these challenges and resign for the good of the country. So it's telling me the battery is going down, so let's see. So that's the situation. I will be back with other updates and concerning citizens media comment. So please subscribe. Please comment on my video. Please like my videos. Share with your families and friends. Thank you and be safe. So long, everyone.